What's up and welcome to Mostly Focused. I'm yelling. Garrett was the one yelling last episode.
Someone text the group chat to let Jonathan know.
Yeah, I did that last episode. Okay, hang on. Welcome to Mostly Focused.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan McWhorter, joined by my beautiful co-host, Tanner Wilson, a.k.a. Puppy Daddy. Bark for me, baby.
No.
Okay. Joined by my other beautiful co-host, Garrett Hunt, a.k.a. the Big Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough.
It's going to stay there forever.
There you go.
And joined by my other beautiful co-host, Japé Paton. That's going to haunt you forever, too.
Yeah, well.
So, I will quit calling Tanner Puppy Daddy if he barks for me once.
You know he's not going to.
Yeah.
No.
Can we post edit old bark from Mostly Focused past? Because he did one. He goes bark bark just like that.
Like Blue off Blue's Clues.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That was good.
Give me credit. That was a good Blue.
I'll give it words too, Jonathan.
Bluey. It's
Yeah.
a different Blue dog.
Yeah.
It is different.
Anyway.
Bluey's great.
That's
Though.
the
Bluey's
best,
for the
dude.
parents.
All right, I'm gonna say
So
something.
Hey, there's one episode.
It's gonna be a hot take like Bluey
called? I
sucks.
can't remember. But like where they do the dream stuff. It's like one of the highest rated.
Where Bingo's dreaming about the sun.
Yes,
and
it's like one of the highest rated episodes of television ever on IMDb.
Yeah, it's incredible. We
Yeah.
watched.
Son, love, mother.
Well, it's
No,
No, I'm not making it dirty. I'm saying
well,
that
no,
sounds like
no,
something a
Bingo-
youth pastor shouldn't be watching.
I gotta
Bingo
find.
is-
Sounds like Hinduism.
wanting to get back to the sun and the warmth of her mother in the dream, because
Yeah.
the mother has the warmth.
Hang on.
Okay.
Don't act like I'm just saying the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life
It
right
may
now.
be the craziest thing I've ever
Just
heard.
watch
in
the
my life.
episode. You'll see it.
It's
You'll cry.
Great.
I won't.
Dude, there was one
Sleepy
episode.
Time. Sleepy Time. It's
Yeah,
called
Sleepy
Sleepy Time.
Time.
It's great. No, like
All right,
So good.
let me say what I was going to say about Bluey.
Yeah.
It's cute. I like it. I've seen 15 to 20 episodes.
okay,
Rookie.
you have, yeah.
Okay, maybe I haven't broke.
You're not qualified to speak
I
on
haven't
Bluey.
broke the Bluey barrier, but I think it's a little overrated from the hype I've heard about it.
No, if you're not qualified to speak.
Yeah,
Concur.
I agree 100%.
I'm already subscribed. Like I've got it on
The
deck.
Sun Mother
It's
got
queued,
you there.
It's queued up.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
you have it queued up?
It's
Okay.
queued up for.
I thought you meant you were
Listen.
like locked and loaded after the Sun Mother comment.
So if I hear the first note in a song, if I know the song, I know what song it is. Y'all like that? Like if you hear the first note of a song, you can be like, okay, that's whatever. Like immediately.
ASMR, you like that?
Emmett can hear the first word from a Bluey episode and say, oh, that's rain.
oh,
Like
wow.
that's
wow.
the name of the episode.
I do know
Leo
the
and-
first harmonica note. Like,
Well, yeah, but I mean, just
all right, I'm gonna make one sound, and I bet you all know what it is.
Bum. Yes.
Yeah.
What is it?
Black
Black
Parade.
Parade.
When I
Oh.
was. All right. Yeah,
I mean-
y'all know.
How'd that sound in your ear? Good.
It's tickling my
I
eardrums.
thought it was.
Tickling your eardrums.
Tickling your
That's
eardrums.
what I like to hear. Anyway, we're back with another episode of Mostly Focused.
Mm-hmm.
Apologize for the visual video breakup and giving JP a heck of a task to make it all coherent.
No, we're good.
Listen, I learned
Why didn't we
something.
do this first?
The phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we used like a real camera the first time, and the phone's probably going to be the best way to do it. But I
Yeah.
learned something because I mentioned in the last episode that JP was like, wow, basically, I'm so proud of you for getting all this stuff set up. And I was like, huh, yeah, okay. I'm going to do it. And I'm the idea guy. I'm not the get it done guy.
Normally, the idea guy though
No.
is also the delegate guy. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
I just like to give ideas, and I will be a part of them. I will lead the ideas.
us people that do stuff though, that do the stuff,
The doers.
consider that reckless.
Ooh.
You know what? There's songs about that.
Oh,
Oh, the overwhelming, reckless ideas of John. That is me.
yeah,
Reckless ideas, reckless Johnny. Y'all can call me that.
yeah, reckless
And
Johnny.
it fits.
Okay.
Anyway, so listen, don't be looking ahead at my notes. These are my notes for our war conversation, okay? Don't be cheating. You come with your own notes. Tanner's copping a peek over here. Me and Garrett really dedicated to the bit, and we changed clothes.
You did.
did.
You are spread eagle. I mean, there's probably
Oh, my
computers and
goodness.
stuff covering this, but yeah, you
Shout out Starburst.
shout out.
If
Yeah.
we eat a few more jelly beans,
But your
we're in
saber's
danger.
out.
My saber's out. Listen, so this tattoo won me some money the other day.
Jonathan's big old Daffy Duck star.
Who? Who is that? Who did you just say
Donald
this duck
Donald
was?
Duck. I'm sorry. Donald Duck.
Daffy
Listen,
Duck.
it's late, bro.
Daffy Duck is Looney Tunes.
This is my second night in a row here.
Actually, no, it's
I'm
not.
exhausted.
This is your third night in a row.
It
here.
is. Yeah. But you know what I mean.
Oh, I didn't say this last episode.
Yeah.
I have seen JP
Oh no.
Friday night,
Oh, okay.
Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
Sunday night, Monday night, tonight, Tuesday night,
Yeah.
and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yep. You will.
Look at y'all. Good job.
I don't know. After tonight, I might go MIA. Just,
I'm gonna.
I go AWOL for a while.
At least you don't have to do anything tomorrow.
That's true.
So, well, I'm gonna wait for it. So look at that. Did you see that? Did you see that?
My heart is
That
overjoyed.
is- that was the Holy Spirit.
That was. Thank you.
That was the Holy Spirit.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, so fun story about this Donald Duck right here. So I was at Disney, and I heard that. I was at the Grand Floridian Cafe, and someone goes, "Oh, whose foot is that?" They could recognize it. Oh, that's Donald, right? Oh, show me your tattoo. When people ask me that,
They don't know what they're asking
So
for.
like this is about how short my shorts are at Disney.
Yeah.
I'm like, I do it like this every time. I'm not joking.
That slow?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then they're
Just
like,
the slow reveal.
and people about right here, people
They're
are
like, oh no, that's good.
no, people are like, oh, and then I'm like, I make eye contact like
Just
this.
stop.
I'm like, Tanner, look at me.
Tanner, look at me.
You're not even looking at the tattaoo.
I'm the captain
Garrett,
now.
You think? Are you ready for it to stop?
Yep.
Why?
You ready for it to
Oh
stop?
my.
Hey.
You just woke your daughter up.
You know, when I went and got this tattoo done, which shout out to the Lost Bros, which is like my whole wardrobe is Lost Bros. They had this tattoo thing. Whoever's got the coolest tattoo design will get a $25 gift card to our shop. I won out of hundreds of tattoos. I had the coolest Disney tattoo. So, you know, people say tattoos are stupid. Tattoos are great. Tanner, you got a big tattoo.
I do.
Show me your Charmander.
Can you?
I think maybe.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if I can pull my
Too
jeans
thick
up.
for H&M.
Yeah,
I was wondering,
one of your
you haven't
nicknames.
said that.
Oh,
No,
man.
every time
I was
I walk
wondering.
past
Well,
H&M,
you've lost,
I'm
you,
like,
you and I both lost a lot of weight since Walgreens.
yeah, I was at
I lost-
297 when
That's
I
all
left
those snacks.
I
Walgreens.
got to 221,
Yeah.
and now I'm down to. Well, I've gained weight back since because that car dealership put some weight on me. I got down to 179. I'm back up to 191 now, but
Yeah.
I got to start cutting some calories. Hence,
Diet Coke.
shout out
Shout
Diet
out.
Coke. Yeah, someone said that the other day. They're like, you know, Diet Coke's not good for you. I was like, I would rather have brain cancer than diabetes because apparently aspartame puts holes in your brain. I'm not saying I don't. Oh no. Abby knows my phone's dead, and she said, "Tell Jonathan Violet's awake." And shh. How does she know it was me?
Because you're her dad.
No, how does Abby know it was me?
Because
Because
that's
she
your
can
wife.
probably hear you in the other room.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Leslie might have been able to hear us from.
Yeah.
You live just right up the road.
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, listen. Yes, tattoos are cool. Tattoos are not sinful. But back to where we originally started. Me and Garrett dedicated to the bit. But how we're going to do mostly focused is we're going to record both episodes in one night. So if you see JP and Tanner, don't think they just don't ever wear any other different clothes.
Well, I said the likelihood of me wearing this exact same outfit
It's
2 weeks from now is very high.
very
so
high.
So they're going to be in the same clothes. And me and Garrett are now going to dedicate and be in different clothes every episode.
Yeah, we should do the first episode like in nice clothes, and then
No.
the
Well,
second.
Well, first episode's already happened, so
Well, he
well,
means
like
I know what
in
you
the
mean.
future. Yeah, retroactively. Let's change clothes, Jonathan.
Yeah, you know what? Add that in post.
Yeah,
I will. Yeah,
JP, you can
post.
Photoshop, right?
Yes,
Just put a different like nice suit
that's
on me.
that's such an idea person thing to say.
Yeah.
Just put a Photoshop.
Put a Photoshop thing in there.
Put a filter on there.
Reckless.
Yeah, reckless. You know, I got the worst comp backhanded insult. I think it was just an insult the other day. So I had my shirt off in between takes, in between episodes here, changing for the bit. Right? You weren't down here,
Oh, okay.
and my sales manager at the car lot was like super buff guy,
Yeah,
and he always would tell me, you know, considering how much junk you eat, you look pretty good. I took my shirt off at the dealership one day, or not shirt off, but I was like unbuttoning it and like because I was sweaty. He goes, "Whoa, you hold your weight well," and I was like.
That's tough.
But it's facts though. My weight collects right here and here alone. This was mostly film. I let the gut flop, but it's mostly focused. So we're gonna keep it concealed like God intended.
Yeah.
Till summer. I'm gonna look like Jack Nicholson. Have y'all seen the memes? I know you have because
yeah.
You seen the Jack Nicholson memes?
Mm-mm.
You're lucky my phone's recording because otherwise
Hmm.
you'd see them. Anyway, so back for another episode of Mostly Focused.
We are
We're gonna talk about World at War. Not the worst Call of Duty ever made.
worst.
Yes. Dude, World at War is the worst Call of Duty not ever made, but bottom three for sure.
Listen, you've said a lot of stupid stuff in your life.
Wow.
A lot of stupid stuff that I
Bold.
agree. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say.
Wow.
No, World at War is bottom three Call of Duties.
That is crazy.
It's not as bad as Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare is bottom
was
barrel.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Infinite Warfare is bad. The fact that Tanner knows that
It was bad.
is facts.
I don't
I
play these
respect
games.
And then Advanced Warfare.
Right.
Then World at War. World at War. The only thing World at War did that was good
Zombies.
was introduced the Nazi zombies.
Yeah, which was fun. Multiplayer is fun.
Mid. Coming off the heels of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Mid.
Well, I mean, you can't have a sequel for the greatest
We somehow stepped into
multiplayer
mostly
game
games.
mostly
ever
gaming.
created.
Gaming.
Listen, you can't play games with this jerk. We were playing a co-op game together. He came over here.
Yeah.
We spent almost 6 hours.
We spent a long time
We were-
and a pizza together.
Abby had to do one of those texts. Hey,
Oh.
be quiet. Because we were upstairs
Oh my
screaming
God.
so loud because it's a
Screaming
co-op
like
game.
girls
Yeah.
during that math.
Yeah, it's a co-op game, and part of the thing is you have to like solve math puzzles, and if you don't, you get
Quickly.
smashed by a book.
in
And
like
we were
seconds.
both like we have to use
You
our
and
fingers to do
math.
2 + 5.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
tough.
actually had to really do the 7. What did I call you about one time? Remember, it was like a math question. I called you too, and you got it right.
Well, yeah.
Well,
but-
yeah.
I mean-
Well, yeah, duh. But yeah, we were bad at
Tanner,
math.
big
Anyway,
brain.
don't start games with him though, because we spent 6 hours, made it halfway through the campaign. He's like, I don't want to play it anymore. And
I had to go
never played it.
home.
No, I'm not. It's multiplayer online. We could have finished it at any point. It's on Game Pass, as you
Yeah,
pointed
but
out
now
20
it's
minutes
just
ago.
something that I'm just living by, knowing that you wanted to
You're
finish
gonna
so
get
bad.
you're gonna get to heaven, and Peter's gonna be like, "No, that's a bad friend. That is
Catholicism?
not
Does he guard the gate? Is
who Peter.
that what
He
you're
is the
talking about?
gate.
Peter's the gate.
Peter is the gate because
Oh,
when God said, "You are the
interesting.
rock upon which I'll build my church," Peter is the rock gate.
Okay.
Have you seen Noah? The Russell Crowe Noah? Those rock.
We saw that one.
We did. We saw it with the church group.
And
Ivan was there.
Ivan.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
I bet. Never mind.
Don't
And
mention
so,
it.
you know
No,
what?
no,
Saw where
no,
that was
no,
going.
Disgrace the dead. I don't want to do
Saw
that.
that one coming.
Hey, growth.
Growth.
Here we go.
Growth. I
Here we
would
go.
have said it otherwise.
And we are 12 minutes in.
And that's great. Here we go. Y'all ready to talk about war?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot of civil unrest in our nation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, do you say national unrest or is it still civil unrest abroad?
International.
International
Yeah.
unrest. International
We are already so
unrest.
qualified to talk about this.
Unrest. Yeah. Unrest. It's like an unrestable broad.
Yeah.
What? It's a porch either.
Abroad.
Abroad. Yeah. Anyway, so listen, you can't count on me to get my phonics right, okay? You know,
Obviously.
you have no room to talk.
I don't.
You have no room to talk. So listen. So the purpose of this episode, I want to discuss, as we as Christians in America specifically, this could also apply to like England people because they're still, we watch
People.
Beware of Christians. They're like the same as us. They're
Mhm.
insulated, don't have a lot of pressure for anything, kind of
Mhm.
like for faith. So that kind of, let's just call it Western Christianity. What is our role in terms of like what's going on with war internationally? What's going on within our own borders? How should we be involved? Should we be involved? That kind of stuff. And how does it play into the big picture of like the end times? Like I said at the end of our last episode, this is not an end times episode. We're not going to get into like the nitty gritty revelation. We're not going to talk about the 7 seals, which 6 of them have been opened already. We're not going to talk about any of
The
that.
Euphrates drying up. With the,
Yeah, we're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about.
Yeah, we're
any
not
of
going to
that.
talk about those
None of
things.
But we are going to discuss kind of like have you
Some
ever
of those
had a Parmesan crusted steak?
Yeah.
And it's just really good crusted on the sides.
Yeah.
But before you get into the steak, you know it's good because it's got the Parmesan crust.
Yeah.
That's this episode.
All right, yeah, cool. Good
The
analogy. I get. All right.
the inside-
Parmesan crusted up, baby. Let's go. All right.
Amen.
The inside of the steak.
Shout out Parmesan.
Okay, last thing to really honestly jump in.
Okay.
Texas Roadhouse or Longhorn? Who has better steaks?
Longhorn.
Longhorn.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we're friends. Freaking men. Everybody I work with.
We'll say Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse is superior in every way.
Peasants.
Because they're all a bunch of country bumpkins.
Longhorn.
Now, I will say shout out to my man Joe, who's the manager at Texas Roadhouse.
Wait, Joe from Rotterdam?
No,
Oh, wonder what he's doing now.
That guy.
That guy.
Oh, okay.
Sin.
Listen, me and Tanner worked at it. What's one job you can never picture me doing?
He was the worst.
Manual
Cleaning
labor at a
boats.
boatyard.
Yeah. Now,
He had to use a sander and grinder to get all the paint off the bottoms of them and then roll paint on the entire bottoms of boats.
And then one time,
He
me
was
and
worthless.
Tanner got put on. You know how many videos I took at Walgreens? Imagine that when you're doing manual labor and people depend on you to carry the weight of hard
my
manual labor. And I'm over
gosh.
here going, hello, hello. Like literally one time I was dipping my like sweatshirt things down over dangling and videotaping people's reactions. I was doing my sweat thing down over them.
Ridiculous.
But like it wasn't just that. I would get into like
Sorry,
engine
Tanner.
blocks and grind fiberglass. And
Oh, man.
Yeah.
that was awful.
hurt.
And I thought I didn't need the suit.
Oh, you
Yeah.
That was a
stupid.
mistake.
Oh,
Wow.
God.
And then one time
That
me
was
and
the worst.
second stupidest thing
Listen,
ever.
if you want to test a friendship, get put in a scalding hot oven of a houseboat for what, 3 months on
It
end?
was,
The Davis boat. I'll
yeah.
never forget the name of it either.
Yeah,
it was
it
the
was
Davis
a good
boat.
while.
And we had to reupholster the whole boat.
We did.
Take all the upholsterer down and reupholster it.
Mm.
You didn't know I had those skills.
Well,
Do you-
I did most
do
of
you?
it.
You just recorded Tanner doing
well,
it.
I vividly remember that was when Kick was around and you and I were doing our best.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Batman. And we were making
Oh,
Batman
no, it was
videos.
Rachel.
You and I'm pretty sure.
You were in the videos. You were adjacent to the videos. And I promise we're going to get on here.
Okay, I'm sure.
I promise.
Yeah.
There was I remember vividly about the Davis boat. There was a bunk beds downstairs.
Yep.
Because I spent a lot of time laying in those
Yeah,
bunk beds.
sleeping, letting Tanner do the
No,
work.
not sleeping. Never sleeping.
Like
'cause I didn't wanna
Jonah
get
at
in
the bottom,
trouble.
just running.
And when I got in trouble, I'd have to weed eat like hip high grass. And typically you got roped into it because you were my partner.
Pretty much.
So
Pretty much.
yep, that's it. All right. So
Good
let's
story.
talk about it. And Gary, I want to start with you. Started with Tanner last time. JP, I'll jump in with you.
Yeah.
With what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
you do. I'll give you the choice. I'll let you start.
Okay.
Do you want? Because you have the compass on your hand.
Oh, okay.
So you have north, south, east, and west.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Let's start with Russia. Which direction is Russia?
Which direction is Russia from here? Well, let's go east.
Depends on which route you take.
I don't know. We can go west or we can go
It's
east.
definitely not north.
Yeah.
It's not south.
Did you know you can drive to Russia?
You gotta go through Alaska. No,
Did you know
Nope.
this? Is your mom
it's
blown right now?
Alaska, right?
You can't drive
That's
to
not true.
Russia.
You can't drive to Russia.
Yes, you can.
Where? What, you going to drive all the
You
way
and
up
I are on the
north
same
to the
wavelength.
North
I thought you
Pole?
could.
I think you can.
I thought you could.
Oh.
I'm
I mean,
curious about to pull it up.
is global warming messing this up for us?
No, you can drive to Russia, and you also did you?
You didn't have this in your notes, Garrett?
Oh, yeah.
Why did you not see it? Are those
Quaaludes.
Quaaludes?
If you didn't foresee this conversation pivot,
Is Japan an
Can you
Asian
drive
territory?
to Russia from Alaska. There are no roads to the Bering Strait. So driving there in a car
yeah. But if I
is
have it,
out of the question.
but if I had a really nice Forerunner,
Yeah.
There's some
possibly
shallow
get there.
water. I don't believe this. I know you can drive there.
Literally,
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. As
internet-
long as you know it.
The internet is deceitful of all things.
it is impossible
It
to
says-
drive from Alaska to Russia since the two are separated by the Bering Strait with no land connecting them.
But now
That's not
I'm
true.
reading something that said that there is a glass.
Look
Hold
at
on.
this. I mean, here's a picture
There's
of the
a
Bering
new
Strait.
climate controlled glass tunnel you can drive in the Bering Sea.
I knew it.
but nothing natural.
What does it matter? You can
No,
still
it
drive
doesn't
there.
matter. I don't
Hence
think-
my
Yeah, I mean,
argument
that
is
was
valid.
the technical.
Is Japan an Asian territory? If you were Japanese, are you considered Asian?
I mean,
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a real
on the
thing.
Asian continent.
I guess, yeah.
Would you have said that if Tanner didn't say that?
I would have said that, yeah.
I-
but then I think like Japan
I would
is
say-
separated from China,
I would say
but they're not.
Japanese.
This is once again me and Caitlin was dropping this on us the
Yeah.
other night. Me and JP were like, no, Japan is their own place. They're
Yeah, it's their
Japanese.
own-
They're not
yeah,
Asian.
they're a country, but they're part
Right.
of the Asian
But
continent.
they're not part of the continent.
I would
They're-
say they're part
they're
of
an
like
island.
it's like a
Yes, it's an
giant
island, but-
culture, isn't it?
Why is Hawaii not Asian?
Because Hawaii is an American territory.
So
I mean, they're considered Polynesian.
is that a branch off of Asian?
Gens?
Anyway, listen. Talk about. I'm gonna let you talk about Russia
Okay.
and the Ukraine.
Or
You can talk
Caucasians?
about whatever you want.
Asian?
As Christians,
Good question.
Caucasian. Wow. Do I need to call Kyle
No.
again?
No, let's not. Let's jump into this.
Yeah. All right. So
Okay.
let's talk about war. So Garrett, you don't actually have to talk about Russia first. Let's just talk about however you want to lead into it, but it's talking about we as Christians, how should we handle all the stuff that's going on? Are we in the end times? How are you as Garrett Hunt perceiving all the stuff that's happening?
Yeah. So when I was thinking about this, I stay willfully ignorant to a lot of the politics and a lot of the world stage stuff. I don't know if it's because I'm a not necessarily super conspiracy theory kind of person. But
go back and listen to episode 3 and mostly focus from 4 years ago.
Yeah.
No, let's not do that.
But Garrett had some takes.
Yeah, so did you.
so did Tanner.
Yeah, it was COVID.
Yeah, it was
Well, we had nothing better to
COVID.
do.
Yeah. But I guess I don't buy into the whole like government world system type stuff. I think there's a lot of like shade involved in it. I believe a lot of things aren't what they're saying to be. And then when I look at my faith and more being a youth pastor now, I see things differently from this lens, because the kids that are in our youth group, and not just in our youth group, but the things that the kids are facing these days, they're facing suicide, they're facing mental health issues, they're facing all kinds of things. And so when I look at these conflicts going on, am I going to focus and spend my energy being poured into by these things, or am I going to try to pour into these kids so that they can come to know Jesus? Because when I look at the stuff going on in the world, I can pray every single day that the war in Israel will stop.
Honest question. This isn't like a test of faith. I'm honestly asking, do you pray every day for Israel? I don't.
No, I do not.
Okay.
I will, if it's brought up or something like that. Yeah, I'll pray for them.
This isn't the purpose of this episode, so I don't really want to get in the weeds. When you talk about like following scripture and infallibility and inerrancy and stuff, when it specifically says to pray for your government, pray for your nation, pray for, how literally do you take that? Because I don't pray. I mean, every once in a while.
Well, here's the thing. I've been reading that Honor's Reward by John Bevere, and the Bible says all leadership and all positions of authority are God ordained, because in the kingdom, it's not a democracy. You know, we don't vote, even though we may vote for.
Well, you don't vote at all till this year.
Well, I don't even know. That's true. That's true. But, you know, we honor those who are in positions. And you think about Nebuchadnezzar, he was in position because God appointed him to position. Pharaoh was in position because God appointed him to those positions. Now, God doesn't cause confusion and civil unrest. The person does. So our role as a Christian is to believe that every position of authority is God ordained, because God put those in there. So we honor God by honoring that position. And if we don't honor the position, we dishonor God in our life. And so that book has changed my mind, all about politics and positions and stuff like that of authority, whether you believe in it or not, you know. But my mindset's changed, man. I don't focus on these world events. I don't focus on these things going on, because we got so much going on here in just our region that I can be focused on. And then I'm not going to be like, hey kids, let's look at all these wars going on and not worry about your mental health. Let's put all this stuff on top of you, on top of all the other things they have going on. You know, and this stuff is going to continue. It's like I was going to say earlier, I could pray every single day for these wars to end. And yes, I don't pray for them every day, but the outcome's going to happen. You know, like what is everyone going to come to know Jesus and then he just won't come back? You know, like this stuff plays out how it's going to play out, and we can pray for the people on both sides, because a human life is dying. Like a Palestinian dies,
that's right,
an Israelite dies, a Russian dies, a Ukrainian dies, a homeless man dies. People are ODing in the streets. I mean, it's crazy, man. So
where do you draw a line between being like willfully ignorant, to use your word, and being like what is our role? Like, because you can't turn a blind eye to it, but at the same time, you can't also become unless you literally become a martyr for it.
Well, isn't it like, if I know, it's like if I put a big chocolate cake on the table and I know,
gosh,
like,
I wish you would.
Like if I had a piece of that cake, it would lead to another piece, and eventually I would eat the whole piece. Whereas if I take in all the chaos in the world around me, if I take in just a little bit, isn't that just going to cause me to dive deeper and deeper and deeper into that, you know?
Right. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, no,
here too.
But this is part of the conversation though, because it's just kind of knowing what to block out and what God is calling us to be active in, whether it is in prayer or whether it's actions in our communities or whatever. So
I have written down here, just like with everything going on, like we want everything to fit in a box cleanly and to have a binary choice of this is good and this is bad. Like this is how I need to think. And if you think this way, it's wrong. And if you think this way, it's right. And like, I was just thinking about just like my individual or our individual lives and like how complicated some stuff is and like how hard and nuanced things are. And like, if my individual life is like that, these geopolitical stuff, like, I mean, the complications and the complexities and stuff like that. Like, have I taken the time to actually study and see different perspectives and angles? And like even us talking about this, I don't really feel comfortable talking about it because it's like, how much have I really read and studied it? And like, if I'm not well versed on it, then why the heck should you listen to my opinion?
Yeah,
and I wouldn't say that I'm well versed.
No,
on it.
sorry, and that's not the point. That's not. And I know that's not the point. This is just our
sure.
Yeah. None of us are war experts. We are not on the White House panel. So let's go ahead and get that out clear. So you think. Think. Can y'all imagine if I had the nuclear codes? Well, if Trump could have them, I think anybody could maybe have them. But that's not a political statement. I'm just going to get that out there. So in terms of like war in general, though, whether you want to keep up with the current events, because Abby would say like World War III is my Trojan horse. Same thing with The Greatest Showman. She says that is also, or not Roman Empire, not Trojan horse. Have you seen the thing? Like, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Well, currently I talk about The Greatest Showman and World War III all the time. Okay. So, but I don't actually keep up with the war news very much outside of my algorithm is catered to how it relates to Revelation. So I'm like, this is it. This is it. This is the sixth seal. This is this. Whatever.
And that's what drives me crazy about
John Hagee.
I don't know who that is. But
oh man,
you know who John Hagee is?
My grandpa's rolling in his grave right now.
Fun John Hagee research and just type in Blood Moon John Hagee.
I'm sure. And that's one side of the spectrum when it comes to Western Christianity. It's like everyone's so like doomsday prepared. Everyone wants to talk about doomsday. Blah blah blah.
It ain't gonna matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like it's gonna happen. Just like there's gonna be wars. The same thing. Sneak a picture. We focus too much on the doomsday stuff, and it literally drives me insane. If I see a video pop up, there's this one guy, I don't know who it is. I
almost said Jeremiah Nichols, but we went to school with him.
I can't remember who it is.
David Jeremiah.
The Turning Point or Turning
Red.
No, I don't know. Anyways,
I just don't have the Turning Point. What is that?
I thought it was a recovery.
It's a rehab.
Yeah, okay. It's a rehab thing. I just don't have, and this is my take on just generalized what's going on. I don't have the mental capacity to focus on it. I don't have too much other stuff going on in my own life. But I feel like it's such a hot topic. And anytime someone wants to talk about it, I feel like I have to know a little bit about it. And I also don't want to be, especially having a kid. I know it doesn't matter because if you raise your kid to, know and love Jesus and you're raising them the right way, it doesn't matter ultimately. But also want to be somewhat abreast of what's going on out in the world too, and be able to speak to it to a certain degree. But there's just so much all the time. You have what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine that's been going on for what seems like an eternity. You have Israel and is it Iran, right?
Gaza.
Is it Iran who's doing it, right? The whole Gaza thing, but it's Iran backed, right? Hamas.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You have that whole thing going on. You have on and off genuine any given day civil war breakout here in the United States. Like Texas legitimately going rogue at the border or whatever's going on down there. I want to know that stuff, but I don't feel like I'm smart enough to really, outside of reading stuff, to like put it together like end times wise. And I don't know this is the best. I don't care. Yeah. Like I care enough to have a general, like I want to know more, but I still have the mental capacity to care about it.
So I'm kind of like Garrett, willfully ignorant. But I should have mentioned on the last episode, just kind of talking about growth recently. Like I've really been deep diving on like what is money, and not necessarily like dollars and cents, but just like why do we value dollars and cents, and just like
we need to go ahead and disclose that Tanner is a Bitcoin fanatic.
Well, but that comes to like looking like what is money, like in order to even get to that, it's like a philosophical thing. Like you kind of have to understand the history of the world. But anyway, so along with kind of being willfully ignorant of what's going on, this studying of money, like I kind of in the conspiracy type thing, like I think all politicians and stuff like they're really on the same side because war is very profitable. And like when it comes to this, war is profitable, and like the people that are deciding to go to war aren't the ones that are actually going to war.
Right.
So like I think they're all on the same team, and they're just trying to get everybody riled up and distracted.
From what? Is that the big question?
I mean, in my opinion, if you
just greed,
well, about in my opinion, it's that our money is broken.
Yeah.
That the money system is broken, and the people that
and the only thing that can prop it up is war.
Yeah.
Well, so here's my question, because I really, my main thing is Christians is talking about Israel, right? But before we get to that, like, is like Russia and Ukraine, Israel and Gaza, how does that affect our money though, besides sending aid? Like, what happens if China decides to call in the $2 trillion we owe them or whatever? Like, what do we do?
I've always heard
that
like
we hyperinflate.
Yeah, and I've always heard that the three prop each other up, really. So like if the United States were to completely fall, like it would mess up the whole thing. And just like China, if China were to completely fall apart right now,
oh gosh,
it would mess
up in our house would be
everything.
here.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they're trying to put BRICS together. Like there's
like legitimate BRICS?
No, BRICS. It's Brazil, Russia, India, China, Saudi Arabia. They're trying to build another currency to not have to use dollars.
That sounds like the Axis powers.
The
new Axis powers.
Stalin,
Hitler, Mussolini.
Okay.
They're all frozen down there with Walt Disney. We didn't know we were going to go conspiracy theory.
No, I expected it.
You just knew war was
I just been buckled up for the ride.
So, in general question: is war bad? Is war needed?
I think war's natural for the state of mankind that we're in. That it's just going to happen. Is it bad? Absolutely. Is it good? How could that be good? You know?
Is it? Would you say that God supports war?
A holy war?
Yeah, the Crusades. Well, because I found
so modern war. Here we go.
Buckle up.
Here we go.
Okay, what Tanner thought, so here we go.
So I mean, modern war is funded by taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if they couldn't print money out of nothing, I'm not giving my tax dollars to go to war because, like, I mean, unless
but we are.
You are.
Did Tanner just say he's not giving his taxes? Did we just out him to the IRS?
No.
But you are nothing else.
I have a question for you off pod later.
Yeah, okay, can't wait. Our off pod's going to be hot.
No.
Well, because
go ahead.
Well, because my thing when I was doing research for this, like when I say research, like generalized research.
Yeah, like Google.
The fact that I have notes is amazing in general, right?
Yeah,
but I was like, as a Christian, like, how should I think of war? Is war wrong? Is there a need for it in general? Like, should we be involved in what's going on in Russia and Ukraine? Should we be funding either side? Obviously, as Christians, Israel is a quick trigger, but I don't think half Christians know why we support Israel or biblically why. I think just, Israel, amen. We support them. They are God's chosen. Which, yes, they are. But I think that's like a general.
Is modern Israel biblical Israel?
That is a very good question.
Jerusalem is Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
But modern Israel as a whole, the state, I'd say no. I think the geography Israel is still Israel, but you have to take the people out of the equation, in my opinion. Well, minus the actual people of the Jews, right? But you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the Israel establishment, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
The government establishment that is there.
So
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I was looking up an article earlier, and I thought it was a very interesting point that it was talking about, like, the promise of Abraham is the promise of faith. So the people of like Jewish faith and like those that follow the Lord. And then there's the Moses like kind of law promise to Israel that is based on, hey, if you do these things, you have this this promise. And just kind of, I don't know. It was.
Yeah, because I want to get into Israel a little more here in a minute. So when I was getting into the Israel stuff and looking up to it, I got into an article about, multiple contrasting articles about God is peace, anti-war, war is an abomination, war is sinful, we should never support war. And then other people like God's a militant angry God. God is Joseph Kony, you know. And which, hey,
Wow.
okay, wait. I'm not saying God
Not a
is
shout
Joseph
out,
Kony.
but
Shout out Joseph Kony. He's still alive.
wow, is he really?
So I was telling me and
Wow.
JP watched Machine Gun Preacher based on your recommendation.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
bro.
The movie's terrible.
Absolutely
It is awful.
awful.
I mean, I watched it 10 years ago.
I know. We talked about how much you liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hyped it up to me pretty hard.
I don't believe that's necessarily true. I'm gonna need the footage.
You did, and it's about Joseph Kony.
Where's the receipts?
It's in
Where's
here.
the receipts?
God knows my head.
Okay.
But yeah, I recommended. I put it on our last trash action film because we did a trash action thing for
Yeah.
film. Jason Statham
Well,
versus
it's
Gerard Butler.
trash.
It's bad.
It is trash.
It is so bad.
It's
It's a terrible movie.
I mean, I watched it in
But the Shekinah
2012.
Church is on there.
Shekinah Fellowship Church. Yeah,
Shekinah.
It's
I really
great.
don't even remember it.
It's bad. It's terrible. Don't watch it again. But
Okay.
it's about Joseph Kony, and I did
Yeah.
not know that, and I forgot all that. Unlocked a memory in my head. You remember the Kony stuff?
Why'd
Yeah,
you watch
you
it
were Jeff.
recently?
Well, yeah.
Because we were doing a Gerard Butler.
Huh.
Shout out to Mostly Film, me and JP's other
Yeah.
non-faith based podcast.
Definitely.
Get out there right now. It was Gerard Butler versus Jason Statham. So we were doing 2 movies a week, pitting them against each other. And we
Mhm.
were the last week we were kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel and did Machine Gun Preacher for
Hmm.
Gerard Butler, one of his, and the movie's bad.
Hmm.
Not like morally bad, just it's a poorly made film.
well, I mean, there's some morally questionable
yeah,
stuff.
but not
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, when I was looking into war, I found an interesting quote, and I don't know who to quote it to because I didn't do that much research.
Anonymous.
But it says, "It is an error to say that God never supports a war. Jesus is not a pacifist." Does that ruffle anybody's feathers?
No.
Tanner's thinking about it. Ruffle your feathers before I go further?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say ruffle feathers, but why would
Gives
you
you a
say
pause.
that?
Gives
Yeah.
you a pause. Okay. Gave me a pause too. In a world filled with evil people, sometimes wars. I'm reading this like I do our mostly film stuff, but I don't
Yeah.
have an accent, so it's throwing me off.
Yeah.
In a world filled with evil people, sometimes war is necessary to prevent even greater evil. If Hitler had not been defeated by World War II, how many more millions would have been killed? If the American Civil War had not been fought, how much longer would African Americans have had to suffer as slaves? Gave me pause, and I was like,
Mhm.
wow.
I mean, it's a pretty good point there.
But
What was the other one? Well, the second one after Hitler? I was thinking about Hitler.
the Civil War, if it hadn't happened, eventually we would have, but it would have taken another violent uprising or war to get slavery abolished. I mean, it didn't abolish it all, but America-wise, you know.
Mhm.
Jesus, obviously, Jesus, you know, general term here,
Yeah.
doesn't, you know, he didn't put Hitler into place. You know what I mean? God didn't bless Hitler's rise to power, right? It's not what I'm saying. But he knew everything that was going to happen. But he also, therefore, put people like Eisenhower and people in place to topple said dominoes, right? So what part does God play in all this? Is he just a spectator, or does he do divine intervention to help these things happen? Because, I mean, you look in the Old Testament, God fought those wars in essence. Seriously, like supernaturally and divinely intervened in those wars. I mean, think of Moses. I mean, I'm glad we don't live in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Having to keep your
It's wild.
freaking arm up to hold a staff to win a battle to the point you got to have Aaron
Everybody
and
needs an Aaron.
golly, I know. I mean, Aaron must have been jacked. I mean, Moses couldn't hold it up to save his life, and that's
That is insane.
that's a deep Bible cut. If nobody knows what that means, come on,
Wow.
that was good.
Yeah,
It's great.
I mean, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
That's why I said that was insane.
That's a deep cut. If you didn't know, Moses, people put him in Christian Bale status because of the film, but he was like a kind of like a runt with a stutter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Aaron was the brawn. Anyway, but literally, God would you had to hold your freaking arm up to win a battle,
Mhm.
and God would let you win if you did it that way. So who's to say he doesn't work like that now, just in different ways? So that's reading that kind of made me pause, and I really sat on it for a while. Like, how much direct how much direct impact does God have on these wars? Like, what part does he play? Does he play a part?
I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty good question. And I think I made mention earlier that God puts scripture says he puts all people in power and authority.
Mhm.
And the thing too is, even though Nebuchadnezzar was in power, the 3 Hebrew boys did not bow down and worship, because the person in authority, if they call for us to do something like that, we don't have to obey if it directly goes against God. So did Hitler Hitler had a chance of repentance and had an opportunity to be an incredible leader, which he was an incredible leader, to be able to influence a nation to kill 6 million people. You know, like you have to be a good leader.
And he got Boeinged.
Do what?
He got Boeinged.
He got Boeinged. Yeah. But you know, to think that Hitler used his God-given authority and power for the wrong, then God raised up a nation knowing this was going to happen, that would directly be able to counteract his authority and everything. So I do believe God has a plan, and obviously that plan doesn't go as it's supposed to be planned, I guess.
Because I think it's in like the predestination kind of talks and stuff like that.
We got free will, and you know what? Like
God is like the cosmic babysitter. Like he just, all these kids are running loose, and he just has to sometimes just be like the proverbial Ben Affleck meme, like with the toy box. He's just like.
One of the things that helped me to help the youth understand how kind of God's role is with things is think of God, and he has one of those tops. And in like creation, well, not a Beyblade,
like in Inception.
Like in Inception. So what he does is he spins the top. He puts everything into motion. He creates it. Then he gives that thing the ability to choose, on there. And so he can come in and intervene in moments, but the things have been spun, and they start and will continue to go that way until he comes in and like divinely intervenes. If that makes sense at all for that.
No, it does. I get it.
You get it?
I get it. That's great.
Cool. Amen.
My mind was going into a new analogy because every time it spins, there's different grooves on the surface, and it may change how it wobbles, but then I lost it from there.
Then you lost it from there.
I was going somewhere with it.
Yeah.
And you had the Inception spinning top. So, that was just a thought I had. So, if anybody doesn't have anything else on that, I want to talk about Israel.
Yeah.
JP, you haven't said anything about war.
No, the main thing I always come back to is Psalms 23:5, prayer table for me in the presence of my enemies. And I heard recently, I think Caitlin was the one that had pointed out to me that in some Hebrew translations, like the context of that is like that table was prepared so that we can convene like with our enemies. We have like we break bread with our enemy, and that table is not the charismatic righteous like celebration, like we don't have to do anything, we just sit back and relax. But no, we're meant to parlay, kind of like have that
Pirates
moment.
of the Caribbean is the only reason I know what parlay means.
So
parlay.
So I do think that as Christians we're meant to have a boldness to us, but a boldness to the point where we can stop and ask ourselves, like, who has not sinned, cast the first stone. Like,
so that applies more internationally. What are you doing within our own borders?
Exactly.
Like, so what are we doing here? Should we be doing anything here? Because we have our own internal wars here.
Yeah, I come back to what we talk about in Bama a lot, like the alien, the orphan, and the widow.
Yeah.
Like as Christians, as believers, like we're meant to kind of stand in the gap for people like that. And when it comes to war, like stepping into those things, personally, I think it has to be in an act of like rescue, not kind of like you said, like we're just propping up our economy. We get in, we get out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think you talk about what we as a Christian, how it impacts us. And I think one of the most important things is, not virtue signaling isn't the right word, but like Garrett's heart may be different than what my heart is. And, I may see what some Christian or somebody else is doing, and that may not be what I feel like I need to be doing as well. But it doesn't mean I'm making any less of a impact or care less than somebody else. I may not have the same calling, like mission work. I think of mission work. We're all called to be missionaries, but I have never felt the calling to go do don't get me wrong, I would go on a mission trip. I would like to go on a mission trip. However, I don't feel my calling to go Francis Chan it and go move to wherever he moved to and do that kind of life either. You know what I mean? But if you did, that's great. That's your calling. I love you for it, but that's not my calling. Same thing with this kind of stuff.
Hopefully
with the
not
war.
mine. No.
God, please no.
Just keep me around here for a little while.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what did the rest of the thing say? Well, like on that comment where he said Jesus wasn't a pacifist, where you said, did that reflect, like, how did he expound on that?
Don't remember. I stopped at, that's the quote I put on there. because that's all I.
Well, I'm trying to think back just through the Gospels, and like, I mean, there's multiple times when Jesus could have chose violence and he didn't. You know, like he's chooses spiritual war over physical war,
and that's where when it said Jesus was a pacifist, that's why I asked, because that ruffled my feathers too. Because I had the same mindset. Because I was like, pacifist may be a strong word, sure. Because I mean, the first thing you think of, what's the first thing you think of when you say Jesus isn't a pacifist? When you try to have an argument against it, what's the first thing you think of? 1, 2, 3, the temple. Going through and flipping it all over, cracking the whip. You know, that's not pacifist, right? That is a act of a righteous indignation. I mean, like it's
that's through some people, though, right?
Zeal.
Yeah, correct. But it could be construed as violent. It was a violent outburst, but not a sinful violent outburst.
Yeah.
That to me is the first thing. Like, well, yeah, sure. And then if God is the same yesterday, today, and for tomorrow, yes, the new covenant changes a lot of the things that, like the Leviticus kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
From there, but it also, God is still a just God, not an angry God, but righteous. What's the word I'm looking for? I keep wanting to say just. I guess it is. Yeah. You know, but like, we don't live in a world where we have the quote unquote pharaohs, but we still do. And God, if he's the same yesterday and tomorrow, whatever, wars are still a thing, and he still blessed those people and provided for them those wars. And that the God of the Old Testament is still the God of today, just with some of those other laws abolished. And he still intervened and directly, because of our failures, but spurred those wars in a way.
Tanner's process on this one.
I know. That's
fine. I've just got things I don't feel comfortable putting on the record.
Yeah. I get it.
Well, I want them on the record.
Well, too bad.
Too bad.
Have you seen the 7 psychopaths? Like, this is put your hands in the air. I don't want to. This is a robbery. So, okay,
I very much like to play devil's advocate with myself.
And that's partially what I'm doing too.
Like, I
have no
really
strong
like
stance
to
on
get
war.
out of just like, hey, think this way because this is how you're supposed to. Like, I really like to explore ideas from different perspectives and like just try to.
And all of us are I'm in that same boat.
Yeah.
All of us are very Bible Belt Christians.
Yeah.
So you least of the bunch because you didn't grow up in it necessarily.
Yeah, not necessarily.
I will say, like, I'll add to what our heart should be towards it. I think how, like, this area, the issue comes up whenever how our view and our involvement should be, like our mindset. I feel like I'm rambling just to say this. It is not our job to see ourselves kind of like that mindset of we're the righteous hand of God,
the white savior.
Like we see ourselves as like the ones bringing judgment,
right?
Because therein lies the issue. God is the one that overall judges. I think it just comes down to being there for others. Like it is just do unto others as you would do unto you. And you know, I would if I was in distress, I would want somebody to step in. That's why we have you know, frontline people that serve in our own communities. Yeah. And you know, I have a brother-in-law that is a cop who you know, probably 2 years ago, like I probably would have had different opinions about people sometimes in those positions. Sometimes, yeah, but the point being, like,
you hear that song? Police. We know where Garrett stands.
Again,
police.
Like, please don't take that from me.
But yeah, I don't know what else you want to add to that.
No, yeah, I mean, I think we're all just tap out there. So let's talk about Israel, because that's obviously, I think, relating to us most important, because everybody wants to say Israel as like a warning bell, like dinner time, you know, ding, 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 ding. Ain't that what people do when they feed the hogs? Chow. Yeah, put that chow in there. So what is a brief understanding? I don't care who answers it or all you answer. What is your brief understanding of historically Israel as God's chosen people and how everything in Revelation kind of centers around Israel and like the basically generalized war and attack on Israel, and that kind of signals the end time. Like God's coming, he's intervening, and he's going to take his chosen people and the Gentiles, because we are Gentiles. We are mentioned as Gentiles in the same breath as his chosen people. Where are y'all? What's your general understanding of Israel and how it relates kind of to today?
I mean, in the Old Testament, you have Israel as a nation, people. They're in the promised land. They're given they're given this land to be able to inhabit as a blessing from the Lord. And, that all obviously means something spiritual because of the new covenant that's going to be coming eventually, that the promised land is no longer a land. It is now a place in heaven. It's the kingdom of God. And so looking at it today, I want to say, yeah, Israel, the land and everything. But when I look at it from my perspective, it's the hereafter, it's heaven, it's the kingdom of God. And
so how do you relate that though, when Jesus talks about there's a Jerusalem here on this earth? That's not a heavenly Jerusalem. Like he talks about coming.
Well, he does. Yeah. He does make mention of Jerusalem. And then he makes mention that there's going to be a new Jerusalem and everything. And so,
but everything like biblically, you can't argue that the geographical Israel does play a significant part.
Absolutely. And
in it.
I agree with that part. Yeah.
So where like what's happening now, how do we because I feel like if we're going to get involved in anything, not saying because we're not going to get drafted. I hope. I don't know where the draft agent. I don't know.
I've had shoulder surgery.
My eyesight. Yeah.
yeah.
Just went to the eye doctor.
Yeah, you had a vasectomy. You're out.
No, my shoulder. Well,
what's wrong with you?
Yeah. What's that timestamp?
Yeah.
Let's cut that. 51:15.
Let's cut that out.
Cut that out. That's funny.
Okay.
That's funny. But I struggle because I and maybe it's our culture, and we'll talk about politics in a future episode, but I feel like Israel is like a dog whistle for I'm just gonna say it, MAGA people. They come around and they will put they change their Facebook profiles and all their stuff to like the Israel flag. We stand with Israel. And
why?
Yeah, exactly. And I know it's true. I can hear my dad right now. He knows I'm playing devil's advocate, right? But he's about you're putting thoughts in other people's heads that don't need to be there. Apologize, Dad. I love you. I do stand with Israel, but what does that mean? I've had to really wrestle with that. And I'm more with you. It's not Israel. I think it's a double entendre here, double-edged sword. Israel is a people. Yeah. It is a people, but it is not the government. It is not the Israel that I think a lot of people mentally put themselves there with.
Agreed.
But it is also a geographical region. America is not Israel. America is not God's chosen nation. It is not where, if you really look into the biblical subtext of Revelation, America is going to play little to no part in the end times. At the if we are mentioned at all outside of general Gentiles, we are the young lion wherever. That's so busied with our own stuff that we can't do anything really. We're useless. So we are not even mentioned in the Bible. And I think we as Western Christians have such a self-important, we are better. We are God's chosen, which we are if we accept him, but we are not God's chosen. Maybe that's controversial, but I don't know. That's a topic for another conversation. But
what? I mean, we're spiritual Jews.
Yeah.
Spiritual Jews. Spiritual Jews. I mean, Pastor John says it all the time. He's made mention
grafted
of it. That we're in grafted Romans 11. You can read that.
So, I made note here that Israel, talking about the geographic thing, is a land God uniquely and repeatedly talks about in the Bible. I have a Bible out and I'm going to read some verse in here because I read out of the Living Bible, which is a paraphrased Bible, but Tanner proofed it. I used to read out exclusively out of the Message.
Yeah.
And that's what saved my life.
I mean, good. I know God can use anything.
That's even more insulting. That's like that guy telling me you hide it well.
You do hide it really well, man.
Golly, dude.
Golly. Man.
I can eat some jelly beans now. Anyway, I want to read some verse out of here later, but I'm not sure which one. But I put in here Joel 1-6, Zechariah 2-5, or 2-5-7, Genesis 35-10-15. And God also refers to Israel as he does to no other land on earth. He raises Israel to be a light to the Gentiles. So to say that Israel doesn't play any massive importance both as a people,
you're totally forgetting you're on camera right now.
I'm not. You can't see what I'm doing. I got swass. Okay. What's the other analogy for that?
No, not necessary.
No, there's swass.
Swamp butt.
Well, no, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so, Israel is both a geographical region, it's also a people. And the Bible and Jesus himself mentions it multiple times. So how do you not know, the Bible, and there'll be in Matthew, I think it's 24, Jesus talks about how there'll be wars and rumors of wars. Right. Obviously, where we have wars, we have rumors of wars. And this specific one, if you really want to deep dive scripture and look into a lot of the subcontext, you have Russia and Ukraine. And it talks about this, the nation Magog, will partner with what is now Iran, Palestine, and come against Israel. Well, if you believe all that, Russia geographically is Magog. What they're doing in Ukraine, diamonding, would be attacking the geographical location of Israel.
This is where I get on this stuff here, because we can look at prophecy and see all this stuff and like, okay, this is playing out. Awesome. So let's tell more people about the Lord. Let's start focusing on the things around here. Right. And it goes back to my first comment where I stay pretty willfully ignorant to it, because it's like, I see it. I hear this. I see it lined up. I'm like, okay, cool. It's all going as planned.
Yeah, that's perspective to like, you know what God has called you to. You have that understanding. So you take your eyes off these other things. You fix your eyes on Him. And
shout out Jesus.
Shout out Jesus.
See, and I'm with you, because I don't talk about this. I don't talk about this every day.
Yeah,
but I do feel like we're at a time though where we can't just. And you're not saying this, but you can't just put your head in the sand. Oh, no. Everybody needs to talk. Like we're in such an information age that I feel like, especially with you, like being in a church leadership position, you probably get more questions fielded to you about random things, about like, stupid things about, I'm not going to say stupid things about Jesus, but also some probably more,
Do you remember when before church on Sundays when we'd have Sunday school and we would just ask your dad?
Shout out Albert Dow.
Oh no, when we were just pepper your dad with just like the craziest questions, like, will we play basketball in heaven?
I love those questions.
Yes, you will for sure, because God created the sport.
Absolutely.
I mean, through somebody. There's no sin in basketball. Anyway. I thought you were going to say when, like, after Sunday school and they ask, well, what'd you learn about today?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
God, Jesus. Yeah.
Holy Spirit. It's great. Anyway, I'm sure you get asked a lot more questions like me, Tanner, and JP get asked on a regular basis. JP just gets asked about tech stuff. Yeah. Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And JP's got to do like a holy rebuke sometimes. Holy rebuke and juke. But like,
I know he rebuked me the other day. It was crazy.
I did, yeah.
JP rebukes a lot of people. I know.
Amen. I was trying to make a point in a playful way, but it came across very mean, and I apologize.
Here, get you. No. Get you too.
I'm just kidding. I didn't.
This is like fine. Buddha.
What? Buddha?
Yeah.
I'll hold my weight well.
He just called you fat.
Well. No, not what I meant. Now, if you were Jade, like the color green, like a Jade Buddha.
Oh, okay. I was like, who's Jade?
Spirit of Jezebel. Anyway, yes. I feel like we have to somewhat, if you're any sort of like, especially ministerial position, be able to speak to this, like, why Israel, and not just be able to say, well, we just need to spread the gospel. That's our role. I feel like you also need to be able to speak about it. And I feel like a lot of the answers I want to say are that, like, well, I love Jesus all the more time to push and further His kingdom. And that probably is the best answer for us, because none of us are war experts or, anything like that. I put in here that, kind of the crux of it. This was a pull from the same guy. As Christians, we stand with Israel because they are forever linked with the spiritual promises of God. We have been grafted in, and our Messiah brought us closer to Israel for His namesake. That's a pretty good answer in a nutshell. And he goes on to talk about how Jerusalem, this is a quote from Zechariah 12:3-4, where God says, I will make Jerusalem like an intoxicating drink that makes the nearby nations stagger when they send their armies to besiege Jerusalem and Judah. On that day, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock. All the nations will gather against it and try to move it, but they will only hurt themselves. To me, if you look at that's talking geographically. That's not just talking about a people or a mindset or a belief or a faith. That's a place too. So, I try not to get caught up in the end time stuff, but when you read stuff like that, and specifically when you try to put context together, it's hard not to really think that, like I said, this is the Parmesan crust. We're not going to deep dive the end times here, but I do feel like maybe more so in our lives, because if you look at plagues and pestilence, like if you really, I read an article a week or two ago about the seals, and that's the seals. You can be I guess we'll ask, are you a pre, mid, or post? Any of y'all?
Dude, see, that's one of those questions too, where I haven't necessarily dove into that.
I love it. I get nerdy about end time stuff.
Was it JT, Brother JT, that you say I'm a pan? It's all gonna pan out.
Yeah, it's all gonna pan out. That's right. I guess I would consider myself that.
You're talking about JT Parrish?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I don't care, because your faith's gonna be tested all the same. If I had to pick one, I would say we're mid, because as wishful thinking as it would be that we all just get to go, I think trials and tribulation are probably part of Christianity. What real tribulation have we had as Christians? in our lifetime.
I mean, not here.
Persecution wise, not really.
here.
None. No,
Not here.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Our Western culture,
Yeah.
none. And you look at what COVID was. You look at what's happening in Israel now. You look at, the different weather stuff. What's the natural disasters and stuff like that. It's hard not to look at it and think that this Israel thing for really me has been like a cherry on the top. And I've done a lot more deep diving into end time stuff. And I don't know, man. I just I don't really know what to make of it all. But it's interesting to me. And I just really want to be able to I want to be more informed on it and be able to have a conversation and kind of point my prayers in a specific way.
Yeah.
Because I'm reading through Psalms right now as my study.
Oh, cool.
And first of all, David's a roller coaster, man. What a roller
He's a
coaster.
vacillator.
Listen,
Dude, he shout out.
All of his songs.
Shout out.
What'd you say? He's a
Downs. A vacillator.
Yeah.
He goes.
What did you think he said? Okay.
It's a love style. It's a
You
love
weren't even
style.
at the marriage conference.
Okay.
Yeah, but this man's been mentored
for a couple years.
He's gone through all
now.
that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Goes-
I know it.
Wait,
Some
are
of
you
it.
really a vacillator?
Am I?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I
good.
was like 3 of those things.
Yeah.
I wasn't
I'm a
just one.
voider, pleaser, and something else.
I don't know that I've ever heard the term vacillator.
It's okay. It's called How We Love. It's a
Okay.
book, and it's
A
pretty-
That's
vacillator
really
is
good.
someone who gets Vaseline.
Okay,
no,
we're done.
no.
It's about
Nope, it's about your emotions.
I was gonna make a point, and I totally. So you're talking about like knowing everything that's happening. Recently, you can put the mic like just a few minutes.
I was
Yeah.
about to move it.
Thank you.
You can't even hear it. Go ahead.
Yes, I can.
I saw it and I knew. Yeah.
Jonathan just can't resist just chewing into the mic. It's fine. But all the unrest and stuff, like you want to know,
Mm-hmm.
like you want to be more informed, but do you also feel the same pull and draw to the scriptures and to the Lord and or is it, a balancing act? Like what personally, like what is it? What's that like for you guys?
For me, I used to do Bible roulette. Part of the reason maybe I was so spiritually dry for a long time is I had no reading
I'm
plan.
thirsty.
You know what? I'm going to open my Bible. Oh, it's Leviticus again.
Oh, dang it. Ringing birds next.
Golly.
Yeah.
Man, struggling today.
Yeah.
No.
Shout out.
So I know I don't
The law.
fixate on like what I
Yeah.
read on that, but and I don't like my Twitter feed. That's like my main social media now.
That's
I
scary.
update Facebook
Yeah.
and I look at Instagram. But Twitter's like that's
will,
where I.
will
That's
we
where I
ever
stay.
call it X?
No, never.
No, it's always
no,
Twitter.
it's
So-
always
What's
Twitter.
X?
So-
X gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was gonna say my feed isn't
Yeah.
doomsday. My feed is
Mm-mm.
Kentucky basketball, video games, film,
Well,
and a little bit of world news.
sure. That's
Mhm.
my
In that
point.
order.
My point to that though is I know there are so many people, some in my own life, that fixate so much on what's happening that they let what's happening dictate how they read, how they
Mhm.
Right.
interpret,
Mhm.
Oh,
how
yeah.
they interact.
I call
with
that the MAGA
sc-
effect.
interact with scripture. I wasn't gonna say that,
But
but,
that is true. Listen,
It does.
because when we talk about politics, I'm gonna deep dive in it,
yeah,
and I'll be the first to I'll be the
Tipping
first.
Point by Jimmy Evans.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
I knew Turning Point was.
That dude is a
That's not Tony
Dooms-
Evans.
doomsday straight up.
Oh,
like
I
everything
was looking
is
at this
end
dude's name,
times.
Jimmy Evans, and I thought he was talking about Tony
is
Evans. I
it
was like,
Tony Evans a black
that's not
man?
Tony
Wow,
Evans.
that is not
Jimmy
Tony
Evans is
Evans.
big.
That is
Yeah,
not
marriage.
Tony Evans.
I think
Yes.
he's.
Turn that around and say this is not
No.
Tony Evans.
I think he's at.
Oh gosh,
I think he's with Pastor
Yeah.
Robert.
Robert Morris.
I think so. Jimmy Evans. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
UFOs,
He says, 'cause he did,
chilling
he said,
apocalypse, great judgment.
Listen, Tony Evans has got some. Jesus, Jimmy Evans has got some of the best like marriage
Yeah. Yeah.
info
But
stuff.
now he's
this
gone
is
into
all
the-
I see of
He's
him.
the new John Hagee. Listen, you got to deep dive John Hagee after you get out of here.
Okay.
Listen.
Don't take his principles to application, but just
Okay.
really do some research and
Have
what
some
was that
discernment.
2012. That was
the
that was
blood
a-
moons. He had
that was a
people
ride.
ready. Well, John Cusack's 2012 didn't help any either.
7 major
The end of the Mayan
signs.
calendar.
Blood moon.
Mhm.
Anyway,
7
So-
major blood signs.
All right.
blood moon signs.
Listen, sorry, to your point though, where I
Yeah.
was going long form answer with that. No, listen, I'm sorry. I know y'all keep seeing me like adjust my briefs, which hey,
Nope.
no, this isn't gonna go
No.
perverted. I promise. I finally graduated from and mostly focused past. We talked about boxers versus briefs. I finally graduated. I still wear boxers.
Yes, you do.
but I've been. How do you know this?
Because you leave them laying around.
Your comment makes it worse.
Yeah.
Where do I leave them laying around? Your room?
No.
My room? You're trapped now. You don't have a good answer. Upstairs in my room?
In your
Oh my goodness. All right. Let's.
Yeah, so I get hot upstairs and I'll be in sweatpants and boxers. Like, I gotta shed one of these and I'll throw my boxers in the floor. I forget JP's coming over. And he'll have to like kick them out of the way. Anyway, no, I've moved on to boxer briefs now.
Yeah.
Amen.
I'll never do that. No.
Your boxers through and through?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
The cradle of life is very helpful, but the peace situation, a pain. 'Cause you have
Listen,
to like
I think we're seeing
unbuckle and drop.
I think we're seeing a scientific phenomenon too, because briefs, girls,
Oh, yeah. Could
boxer,
Wow.
Be. Boys. Yeah.
but
To tell us that.
to tell us that
Tetelestai.
it is finished. Let's just end it there.
All right.
Let's just end it there. I might cut that out. It's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Might
What
just
was that?
cut that out.
Anyway, listen.
Minute
No,
and four.
I study scripture. When I say study, I'm taking it slow because it's only been less than a year since I've really got my kind of life back on track. God's kind of intervened and changed some things for me. So I'm not trying to like deep dive and pull my old like Bible college cross-reference stuff out. No, but I am actually doing fixated studies and doing stuff like that. However, I'm also trying to be I don't know how to word it. Like I want to be current on what's happening,
Mhm.
not put my head in the sand, not be caught up in it, but kind of find a healthy medium
Mhm.
to where I can also know, because I do try to now pray for what's going on in the world and how and actually specifically what I should or shouldn't be doing, how I should take a stance on things.
Yeah, and that goes back to what JP said, is that just having a balance of things. You have a balance, you understand what's going on in the world around you. You balance that out with how you live your life today with those that you immediately affect.
Mhm.
And one of the things that stood out to me so prevalently when I was probably a year clean and, saved and stuff was this phrase this pastor from Oscar said. He says, what happens individually spreads collectively. So, we want to see things change over there. I don't think things will ever change. I think there'll always be war overseas, wherever. But if we want to see a collective thing happen, we balance ourselves out with world events, and then we start individually affecting the lives around us and giving them that hope that the Lord gives us, because it's going to happen over and over and over. And even when Jesus comes back, he comes back to wage a war, and
Battle buddies.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And he comes back with the sword, the word coming back to take back creation. And it's like, it's not going to be pretty. That's why it says the day of the Lord is going to be a great and terrible day. It's not going to be like, oh my gosh, it's all butterflies. No, he's coming back to wage war on sin and wage war on those that have, not accepted him as
The
savior.
people given into humiliation rituals.
Absolutely. Smoked.
To wrap up, because we've kind of talked about this, but has any like pressing thoughts I need to get in? Because you pulled up a tab. What was yours? You said that was for later. It was like some graphic, not like graphic, like some art, like black art.
What do you text us?
I don't know.
Oh, you
I
don't have
sent
his
y'all.
phone.
I just sent y'all a link.
Oh, that's what you meant. Like that's for later.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought it was something you wanted to discuss
No.
on the pod. Okay. Yeah. My whole thing on this was just kind of to talk about our generalized thoughts, because we're just four millennial dudes, barely in our, just crossed the 30 threshold, all about to have kids, different levels of our faith. Where do we stand on the current event of war in Israel and all that stuff? So my last question for you individually, Tanner, are we going to see Jesus come back in our lifetime?
Mm-mm.
Context, everybody from the moment he ascended thought that they were going to see
Yeah,
Jesus come back in their
right.
lifetime.
I mean,
They didn't have
I
COVID.
would-
Although I bet the people with the bubonic plague for sure thought that
Yeah.
was.
I think I'm just focused on seeing Jesus in my own life.
hey, man,
Well, then
come
that's a
on.
cop-out
Hey,
answer, and we're
man,
not
come
taking
on.
it. I'm not taking it. I refuse to accept that answer.
I mean, it's one of those. I mean, like I wouldn't be surprised, but
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Peter was expecting it, so
We ain't Peter.
I mean,
Yes or no? Do you think you'll
I
see
don't
Jesus
know.
come back in your lifetime?
yes, because we have another eclipse coming.
True. April 8th.
April 8th.
So I should get my affairs in order.
Yeah.
You
I guess it don't matter
shouldn't be
then.
having any affairs.
Exactly.
So definitely, if you have enough to get in order, that's a problem.
I personally don't think I will.
Because you won't live long enough, or
Yeah.
He's gonna have an aneurysm.
I have 38 days to live.
He's gonna have an aneurysm trying to put mostly focus together. I do believe we'll see Jesus come back in a lifetime.
Amen.
Praise the Lord.
Garrett,
Praise the Lord.
The Telestai.
To tell us that, baby.
Yeah, I thought we would in the last decade. So I mean, I'm already wrong.
Man, I don't know. It's hard. I guess I would like to say yes.
do you want him to come? This is a loaded question. Do you want him to come back?
And the way I answer that question is like, yes, I would love for him to come back. But the selfish part of me is like, I want to live a full life with my wife and see my daughter grow up.
You'll still live a full life.
This is a whole other podcast.
Yeah, it's a whole
other podcast.
Will we see Jesus come back in a lifetime? Possibly.
All right.
What are you gut feeling? Everybody's given one. Yes or no?
Gut feeling? I think, yeah. I think you give it like 35 years, man. 40 years.
I hope that we are all recording a podcast and a nuclear bomb goes off and you get to make the mushroom joke to me.
If we all get raptured,
did you not watch the TikTok
still get posted?
Did you not watch the TikTok he sent us? It's the same guy, but the nuclear bomb goes off and the mushroom cloud's in the sky and the guy's like, oh no. And the guy taps his back. He goes, allergic to mushrooms. And the guy's like, and then they just get wiped off.
Oh my goodness.
So, all right. Closing thoughts for tonight. One random plug. What do you got going on? I'm putting you on the spot. You can come back to you, Garrett.
I mean, a lot's happened since this has been posted, so I don't think it applies.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
What random's happened?
Just a random plug?
Yeah, nothing like time sensitive relevant. Okay. Yeah, just like
Emmett's about to start playing in the Under Armour Junior League golf tour.
Dang, wow.
Little local one.
That sounds intense.
Yeah.
Is it?
Travel ball, baby.
Okay. Pretty much for golf.
For golf.
Who knew they had such things?
Yeah, they got it for everything, man. Travel ball podcasting.
Shout out. Mostly podcast or mostly golf.
If you know anything about travel ball, you know.
You know, JP floated mostly sports one time. You and him just do mostly sports.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
He was naming off like all the mostly this, mostly that, mostly that. I was like mostly.
And I shut down mostly sports. That was the first one I shut down.
It was a hard stop.
I was like, no. He goes, it could be me and Tanner. I was like, well, then I would want to do it because I want to hang out with you and Tanner and talk about Kentucky basketball. That's all I want to talk about. All right, Garrett.
One plug. You know what? Start reading more books. Start reading books.
It's lame. That's a lame plug.
I don't know.
That's not a
plug. Star Wars Bad Batch, man. Great.
That's better. That is better. That's something.
Great show. Definitely like they're filling in the somehow Palpatine returned.
Oh.
Wait, this takes place after
This takes place
Rise of Skywalker?
This takes place before. This takes place after.
How many times are you gonna say this takes place?
That's the way I'm buffering my thought.
I see that.
It takes place after the Clone Wars, the fall of the Republic, Palpatine's rise in power, and now they're trying to figure out clones. And so you have Omega, who is an actual clone from Kamino that has the blood count to be able to transfer midichlorians to another force sensitive, making them a clone.
All right, your plug's over.
Yeah. Thus comes Snoke. There we go. So
JP.
And Palpatine reincarnated.
I'm gonna be painting a baby room here soon. So
let's go.
Yeah.
Does this mean you can go through my upstairs soon?
Pink.
No.
Pink room?
Dang. No.
Pink with drafts.
No, we're going some greens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pot leaves.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
If it comes from the earth, you know what they say.
It's good.
No.
It's like,
don't do it.
Kids, no.
It's a gateway.
It is a joke. I also do not condone marijuana.
No.
Or
kind of sound like you did.
No. I just said he's painting pot leaves. That is a form of art. Nothing to do with condoning.
What's your plug?
It could be money.
Yeah.
But
what's your
no? That was a transition. Don't roll your eyes. That was not what I was saying. my
Garrett's over here taking mental notes while the timestamps.
No, my plug
104. Don't forget that.
No, my plug
is definitely that first episode.
No.
Like 20 minutes in.
You know, if you wouldn't have said anything about the first step, no one would have thought anything. They would have moved on. I even kept it together.
No, you didn't.
You were laughing the entire time.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm laughing all the time. That's all the time. Listen, my plug is a very meta plug. Not Facebook. Meta. No, no. Be happy. Take joy in life.
Well, that feels
I can't say read books, but you could say be happy. That's insane.
All right, fine. I had something. Oh, Lisa McGabe.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Hey, did any of y'all get the Doom popcorn bucket?
No.
Tanner did silent. That means yes with extra butter.
I've seen it on Twitter.
Oh, so you know. Garrett's in the dark.
All right.
All right. So this has been another episode of Mostly Focused. The second episode. We're going to release these twice a month. Bi-weekly. Yes. Hopefully this filmed the whole time. I've checked it twice. That's why I got up twice. So hopefully it took. We'll see. We'll be back next month with 2 more episodes. So I'm going to have Garrett make social media posts for us. So if you don't like them, you can blame Garrett.
Purple cross.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Did you see that?
I don't think there was anything there.
All right. It is time for bed.
I think it was one of the spiders from out on the porch.
Don't tell me that.
Peace focused, guys.
Yeah, see you
Bye.
guys.
And girls.
Bye.